Challenges. I would be especially dogs because I need to by way of introduction, I'm really delighted the city of Birmingham, but ugly and fantastic. And I also love silly, beautiful bird ones. Come find me after the talk about any of these things. About languages or Birmingham gets when calls it escape. The reason I'm so excited about the web is even in 2025, I find that I need a I'm going to try and keep on the web as weirdos several times a day. Please know I use the most complimentary possible and hope to improve myself. I think it's exciting. So if you want to everything's fine. If you want to look at the internet sometime, I'll tell myself or get some websites makes it about. So if you are all at the same time, you're all in very common lives. By way of work, this project is a foundation. Has anybody ever used speech technologies like Siri or Google? Does it work 100% of the time, every single time? As long as you're speaking English and like me or we work on emergency to get people building big schools to work better, more language and accents. I'm so excited about languages and speeches and airgates, but I'm not even talking about this. We're going to be talking about my first love. I'm also going to ask everyone for a favor. I'm absolutely begging any sissy person or anybody on the internet, please do not come and tell me anything about your language. I'm so interested in languages. I love language learning. I'm bad at it. I have no self-control. The last half of I won't cheat the learning for 18 months. Please, Cecilies, do not tell me anything about the language you will do. And when writing it on top, I thought I would apologize. A bloody mind had a word with me about how all of my talks already exist. Hey, look at school thing. Oh no, there's something wrong with the whole thing. Don't worry, you fix it, and hey, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay is a bit of a tall order in 2025. But go ahead and find this cheat sheet. Just that if I'm just copying my homework, walk outside. Let's look at this whole thing. And let's look at this whole thing for a long time. The promise of web when it first came out was so beautiful and so big and so small. I first started looking at some website when I was in middle school. So for folks who don't have middle school processing, 13 well, really cool and socially adept. I was very well prepared and what was really so beautiful and what was so beautiful is you can say almost anything you want. And even putting out there, before it was like publishing as a concept. I was very, very funny. What was it imagine? It was supposed to imagine. But it gave me that you were able to slowly you want to build a space and anyone had roughly the same level of connectivity. Could you do that anywhere in the world? I had computer access and access for about 2 hours a week at my school. And that's so slant water. Oh, young folks, y'all love this. It's like Vaporwave now. So they rebranded it. It's fun. We talked about these digital spaces as though they were real spaces and felt really powerful. When I was thinking about spaces, I was thinking about weirdos and I was thinking about love. I was also thinking about habitats and ecosystems.
Ecology habitat is any kind of resources and space that works for one type of species. And this made a lot of sense for the plant, especially when you first started building things in these conceptual spaces. The early ability to think meant that we would get resources, we would get spaces, we would build communities that same species of weirdos. You would like clumps and clusters of folks who really had wild trains. And you would get folks over here who really so birds. People develop custom habitats that grew into communities.
And that really sort of grew into a larger ecosystem that felt like it came to the web.
The ephemeral nature of the web as well. Old documents publishing, you make something and put that into the world. But here, the first time, we were making something, we were painting pixels out of light. It meant that you could change it tomorrow. You could W it for a prototype almost immediately. And you had a lot of opportunities to do that and to really get weird. I'm going to be so excited to hear sounds from folks who are exactly my age. Because here's some examples from the early web that are just small, strange, weird things. And everyone exactly my age can hear this one. Whoa! This one skit does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. It's hamsters dancing. You can do a wild time that has, for folks my age and sadly about, the music that comes with this will absolutely tear into your soul, will absolutely forever. But people just make small throwaway things that became part of the culture in typical weapons. And people got wildly specific. Here's someone who was unhappy about toilet cleansing cleanliness in public toilets in Tokyo, who proceeded and spent the following 26 years documenting them and exhaustively cataloging where you could find inappropriate toilets in Tokyo. We've got an English version of the site. If you're ever visiting Tokyo and want to see toilets look like that. And these kind of aesthetics, these kind of half put together CSS hasn't been invented yet. Applied to businesses as well. This is a software consultancy. It's fantastic. Wow. And we had folks early in web thinking about and building on the concept of community and concept of consistency. So here we thought a resource for the early academics and the early cataloging of virtual communities on the web. The fact that we're coming into these new spaces, we're coming into a publishing mindset. And for folks to say, oh, I recognize what's going on here. Let's start cataloging this good feature. And this one's especially interesting because this work continues to be updated. In fact, they've had an updated version of the site. WordPress, yeah. People prefer WordPressy, but still keeping the originals. Got a little bit nostalgia. Here's some old items. It used to be ugly. It used to be beautiful. It used to be weird. And that's not exactly where we're at right now. So some stuff is broken, and some stuff is all the same now. I didn't want to pick on any individual website. But overwhelmingly, websites look like this. This is a good website. This is design. This is modern. This is why websites shaking and yes. And there's got to be a reason some new websites look like this. For somebody who loves weirdos, this doesn't feel like a habitat. This doesn't feel like a community. This feels more like a manicured lawn. And feels like the tubal that weirdos came in. And you might greatly argue you're only some people, we're friends, how you do wasn't fun. But still checks. These are probably business websites. Businesses can't have the weird approach of public toilet blogs in Tokyo. And you're not wrong, but the early way of really hanging on these conventions, we had gotten our top honor, our splash image that sold us an AI powder we didn't want. And our sidebar page, we hadn't worked those out yet. So even deadly serious professional websites were bonkers. Warner Brothers in 1996 made a website for a major motion picture called Space Jam. I've been told it's a new one that is now. I really like this because it mirrors the kind of conceptual spaces one saw at web. They made a canon for each of these concepts, and it didn't look like anything else at the time. This is the kind of weird stuff and some love. But we're not really building it anymore. And I think there's a couple of different things they're slowly on making this more difficult. So let's get a little bit hopeless and despair, because it's a very fashionable time. And then we'll look at maybe some focused things that we need to offset that. One of the biggest things that's offsetting the web and keeping it all in all the same is suppressing a massive concentration of funding wealth in very, very specific geographical locations and really, really specific mindsets. And you might escape the Jags. Are you kind of trying to softly hint that San Francisco wasn't safe? And no, I'm from the Bay Area myself originally. The hospital I was born in has been renamed after a tech boulevard, which is very normal and fine. Burning apartments, right? There's beautiful people making beautiful things, and there's really great weekends. But San Francisco mindsets and San Francisco platforms shouldn't be able to win on the way by being over-resourced and having what's happening. We're seeing a special challenge around this because over-resourced areas around the world are able not just to build more things for the web and push their viewpoints and push their design more sharply. But one of the things that we're seeing both in over-resourced spaces is these walled gardens and closed platforms on the web. And I probably should be naming for business reasons, but can you build your number like to say for Los Angeles? What are some examples of folks who sees or what's closed or just flattened? For folks watching the video, no one said anything, and that no one's involved. So yeah, because folks were building websites or applications accessed by the web, and instead to be very closed, following rules of the owners. Makes sense, they own it. But one thing one gets fluid ecosystems is they break or trees sort of navigate like the coordinates of the web. That these documents or this application are things that we can explore, that we can review. These walled gardens try again and again to keep us within their same network system. These are based and on few companies, and these are the non-white communications. And unless these over-resourced areas really make up an overwhelming amount of traffic on the web, these platforms also collect a massive amount of user data. People can't get deer, people can't explore, people can't build beautiful, strange things if it's not safe for them in the spaces they're in. You need to use like track across the web on these platforms and the open web. The Symmetric bug-like topic for builders and website users is incredibly dangerous today These are being used in military operations. This is being used by governments. This is being used by private companies. But it's also being aggregated, and resold, and traded and combined in ways that make it dangerous for us in the future, and dangerous for quite down in the future, in ways we couldn't even intensely. When we're talking about things on life appear to just right now, I think it's simple, and I'm not slaying the cowbird. This is a catbird, Korean guy, the big catbird thing. They don't tend to make their own sounds. Catbirds will copy the sounds of any birds around them. And they do, again, love catbirds. This is not a catbird talk, but they do a kind of neat job. They'll copy other birds in kind of context. And this is actually reasonably relevant for something to see in one today. Generative AI swap. So who searched for something on the web and marked up the web page that is just sounds? It's sound shaped language. It doesn't say anything. Right now, generative AI models are being built on your screen data. So something you built, something coded, something you sang, something you wrote. And these models are being used to produce trash, useless, valueless noise. No one wrote this, no one loved it, no one cared in this. And for a lot of this AI slop, no one will ever see it or read it. And this has been spread out across the web in ways that are rapidly morphing real computers things before the day. And this can even more chilly because we've got auto-generated website makers as well. These are being sold often as tools or builders, and these great, huge, important names. I tested one yesterday on one accessibility where it produces unlimited views, unlabeled divs, just fine. And try it with a screen mirror, and it's a circle path. We're seeing more and more things that no one can build. They just sprayed across the web. And we're having to compete with that as we build beautiful physical planets. It's not just that all of this is being put out into lives so quickly and it's such volume, but generating AI slop and these really hacky auto-generated websites are forgetfulness machines. Who thinks for less than 3 years?
Oh, no.
All right, cool. Who's been tech for more than 10 years?
One of the challenges we're seeing is that, especially for folks in the industry, as we encourage, as we train people to utilize tools, we're not just making garbage and create out the web. We're also creating forgetfulness machines. We're working with genius and that's good working experienced people who are getting used to routing for things that don't mean and forgetting the fundamentals of how you build this website, why thinking is important, and why it's like Stevens matter. So far, this is kind of a whip through my insights. But one thing that can be said really hard for us to build, similar little spaces now, is bigger than any individual part of the web. We go into business at work. Sure, if we're building websites that look like the exact websites, that's fine. But work itself is getting harder and harder. And the world around us is getting terrifyingly hard. I talk to more and more people who used to do silly, beautiful things, and they understandably expensive. Economic constraints, the pressures of where and how we work on a job, means that many of us aren't supported or safe enough or rested enough to simple things out. So the thinking about that really fast feels again and again like just a couple people can exclude by that as a global resource. Over resourcing means a couple of people get all the money and get to over. Surveillance means that those people get to make money off the currency.
The forgetting machines, they get to rip off your work and make money off
The core implementation. It's not great. Make it can fix it. We're going to rebalance resourcing. None of us are going to win a money fight. But maybe there are things we can do or build that works out a little bit. If you watch this minute, I'm actually using helps like us. There's local and national funding, and especially EU funded out for individual plots and plot points, but also cultural projects.
It's exhausting for podcast, but I'm so excited to see people building the agricultural funds.
Technical sales development is being distributed in online local spaces, and weirdly, one of the things I found over outsourcing is an opportunity. Because open source spaces build in English again and again, it needs our opportunities to build in the languages with less competition. These walled gardens, people are building to stay in open source versions of things that do the same thing. There is legislation and there are fines that governments are upon these big players. And this policy in the EU abroad that we can get involved in saying demand change. But these are slow and not as satisfying as they could be. With surveillance, we're seeing individuals be asked, hey, fix this, hey, train yourself, hey, hide your data. Once it's a good deal. We've got policy there, there's tons of companies that involve policies of hunting animals. It's individuals working in tech, we've got a really rare choice. People got work. But a lot of us can just say, where we're I won't work on projects that do this. I won't work on projects that sell me first. The forgetting machines, there are projects like grains and other targets that employs AI based, which I'm really excited about. There's policy and legislation here moving slowly, but also there are educational projects. That's cool. Here are the tools that let you just sheet out the world. Let's go back and let's teach you what to do at the end of the day. So if we've got the frequency, all we have to do is wrap up a fix for one and see the world and hope for one, and we're done. We can go and get coffee. I softly homeschool this one. So all we have to do is take a look at the problem, come up with local solutions, and we're going to be fine. Hopefully, people are still building weird, wonderful things of the web. We've got folks building art that shows us different, so the same built new projects and stuff. We've got beautiful websites that look like people. So just these are silly things. We used to see people doing deadly serious things in funny, weird, unexpected ways. Like maybe a guide to this complex through a funky food experience. Or somebody doing something as deadly serious as government level fish management and is a fish store about. It's a fish store about. There's still people building useful things. But I'm afraid that at the end of the day, my ability to give you something that says that this is an impact, then the big scary stressful world we live in will fix itself, or that you can fix it. We can go ahead and have a nice afternoon. Is probably a lie. I like the idea of talks of leaving folks with something really utterly means the last point. Really, I looked again and again for Project on Gray that would be sort of a torch for hope. Say, hey, somebody's out there trying to fix all of the things in the world and making things more stressful, dangerous for people to spend the time and to open the field. I move all the things on the way in strange, weird ways and build community. I'm really solitary that I couldn't find anything big enough. I couldn't find anything audacious enough. I couldn't find anything full enough where it felt like he was one example of hope for the web on making the world better and safer. Hope and that we will fix and everything's going to be okay. Instead of hope as a torch, I might softly propose that we use hope itself as a weapon. Or then, the tool, and feel a bit more peaceful on it than me. Right now, the world is incredibly scary. For many of us here, it's safer than it is for folks all over the world. And it's getting harder and scalable for a lot of sizes and a lot of people. To hope against hope, against common sense, feels like the same kind of unlimited space. Not a digital space, a space in our hearts, a space for other people to build something new that felt the promise of the early web. I don't have anything hoping on, but I think that almost everybody is able to go out and do work like this. People aren't tired. People aren't stressed. People are having a difficult time. It's so many people, and so many people here are already doing work to make the web happier, to make the web safer. And I love the web as a platform, but I love it because I love people. And so many people here are already doing hard work to make the world more supportive, more safe, and open for people in our lives and communities to build strange and beautiful things. Instead of being able to give you hopeful examples, I instead politely ask, if you are finding something in the world that gives you enough hope to help other people and help each other and think that things might be okay, if you do necessity and if you don't want to share it with other people and say, we have work to do, but we're all beautiful. And if you get a chance, I would hit on tax for you to share with me. I'm sorry I want to give you anything more meaningful, and thank you.